We had 18 months to develop a car.
Hello, everyone. This week, I am stoked to be bringing you a professional with close to 2 decades of very diverse experience in manufacturing Formula One, aerospace, and hypercar composite components. Mr. Ben Szczypek has served as a supervisor for the premier composite technologies in Dubai, as a production manager for Brick Kiln Composites, as a production controller for Arrival, and is currently the head of composites at Zenvo Automotive, which is the Danish hypercar manufacturer, which since 2007 has steadily aimed to make ripples in the hypercar market. Now, what are we going to actually see in this very interview? This interview is a reflection, basically, of Ben's 20-year-long professional career, how he strategized, how he gained increased responsibility, how he himself had to evolve along with the nature of composites, the technological advancements of composites. How does Ben efficiently lead his team? What are the challenges basically in a company that's newborn? Zenvo just turned 15 years old and they just announced their second line of hypercar, the Aurora. So this interview aims to answer all these questions under the umbrella of offering guidance, insights, and advice towards the young generation of aspiring students and engineers who wish to enter the industry. At this point, Ben, I want to sincerely thank you for allocating your valuable time and allowing us an insight into how you've operated for the past 20 years. What's the reality for working in Zenvo, and for offering your expertise and advice so that we can make more educated decisions along the journey of our careers. On the side, I want to mention that this interview holds a very special place in my heart. I vividly remember when I first saw the Zenvo TS1 on Top Gear, and I was always wondering, what's the reality of the engineers behind the line? I don't just want to see the drivers. I want to talk to the engineers, see how they are able to create these masterpieces of cars. And now I have this opportunity, so I just hope you enjoy this interview as much as I did.
The first question I want to ask, that's something I ask every professional that I meet because I don't like cold networking, is why are you doing basically what you're doing? Why did you want to become a composite specialist? Why do you want to do that?
I grew up 10 minutes from Silverstone, and it's kind of difficult to avoid motorsports. I could hear racing. I could hear the Formula One cars from my house. When the racing's going on, you can hear the cars.
Yeah.
So I was obsessed with motorcycles and fast cars from a very early age. I mean, some kids were playing football. And I just wanted to ride my bike, watch motorbike racing. It came. I kind of come out of school and I just knew I wanted to work in motorsport. There's a lot of there's a lot of motorsport teams in that area, obviously due to Silverstone and that kind of thing. I think, obviously Composites has been around a relatively long time, and I've been reading about carbon fiber in various motorcycle magazines and autosport and things like that. And there was products that I thought, well, this is obviously with having no experience with composites. I was thinking like, well, could I make this out of carbon fiber? Could I make this? And I searched locally for composite companies, and there was Crosby's they were taking trainees. So I approached them with I sent out a lot of letters to various composite companies. Crosby's come back and they accepted. So it's kind of.
So basically, it was trying to figure out what you want to do, because this is the veil that I want to pull as well. Your train of thought behind the decisions you made, to the extent you can, of course, because I know you're bound by maybe some NDAs. So you worked for Crosby Composites. Which were the main technical skills you acquired? Because I'm sure this paved the way for the future vacancies you had.
So this is where you fundamentally learn the basics, like your different layout techniques, how to kind of decipher and read technical drawings and pull the relevant information from the drawings, like how your material needs to be orientated, how you can make kits, so the kind of templates that are digitized and then made into kits that you could lay onto the molds. Vacuum bagging for autoclaves. I learned things like how material orientation affects the structure of the part and the rigidity.
Rigidity, yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. It's difficult for me as well sometimes to say. So.
Yeah. There's a lot of variation to the bits, and we're making every component's different, which is still the same to this day. So it's just interesting. It's an interesting thing to kind of. It's never boring, and it's kind of the fundamentals were learnt there.
So Brick Hill paved the way, and then you moved.
Crosby.
You were Crosby. Then you moved to Brick Hill, and then you moved to Premier Composites.
Yeah.
So could you please describe maybe the working environment a little bit and your duties? Because I'm sure there's slight changes from company to company. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Is it?
So, within Formula One, I call it Formula One composites or motorsport composites. There's a lot of composites in the area of the UK near Silverstone. So it's quite tight knit. People move around, and my name obviously came up by someone that had moved on from Crosby's to Brick Hill, and I kind of saw it as a chance to broaden my horizons, maybe experience a few different things. The kind of work there is kind of similar.
I'm sure there's information you cannot disclose, of course, because these are high.
Trying to tread carefully about what I.
I fully understand. In case, let me mention this as well. In case something slips, of course, what I will be posting and uploading will go over to you first to assess it. Yep. By no means am I going to upload or post something without you giving the all clear as well. So yeah.
So sorry, where were we?
You're just describing your duties a little bit. Yeah.
So it was kind of more of the same, but obviously the more experience you get, you obviously the work gets harder, more challenging, especially in motorsport, and Formula One. There's always a new technology. That is obviously people say that about the trickle down from motorsport to road cars.
Mm-hmm.
There's always new technology, and you're on the forefront of it. I mean, back when I started out, 3D printing wasn't it didn't exist how it does today. Nowadays, Formula One teams have got a department dedicated to it, and it's utilised so heavily within the composites department as well.
Do they do 3D printing for composites?
Yeah, there's parts that rely on 3D printed technology
Mm-hmm.
that would have been impossible to do back in the early 2000s.
I'm sure there is the different threading also of the carbon fiber, and you can verify this or not. Because like a road car doesn't actually need to be so structurally rigid, whereas with a race car, you need to thread the carbon fiber in multiple ways depending on the curvature and the creases and the part. So it's way more complex, I assume.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot more complex. I mean, a lot of the layup is defined by the engineers.
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of that is out of the realms of my experience. I'm gaining more of an understanding. Obviously, the longer I'm in the industry, I can draw off my experience. But there are areas where
Mhm.
my mind is still blown.
How were you basically tackling this complexity? How were you learning to try to manipulate these complex methods? How were you doing that?
On a in a hat, like physically, or kind of
Both ways, maybe mentally, physically. I'm sure you've fought through a lot of adversity to learn how to be a very composed and competent individual within your workspace. So how were you tackling your tasks? If something is complex, do you maybe ask help from your team more, or do you rely more on day-to-day tasks?
I kind of I learn by watching and kind of tackling it myself.
Mhm.
Obviously, the more experience you get, you can maybe look at a technical drawing and a layup table,
Yeah.
and you look at the part in front of you and you think, well, maybe there's an issue there, and it's maybe as simple as bringing up the designer, which is what I did when I obviously my first kind of stint at Brick Kiln. I was very much on the tools, making the parts. So I would speak to a designer through my manager. When I went back to Brick Kiln, I was the person that was in contact with the design. So it was a two-way process.
So it's how much did your duties vary though on a managerial position? Because you need to have more interpersonal skills. You need to be able to manage basically a team. So as you climb that ladder of that corporate ladder, how did you feel about that change?
So the managerial role came from my time at PCT. I was basically approached for a supervisory role. So PCT, I don't know if you've looked them up at all. They're a company based in Dubai who provide large composite structures for architecture mainly. The company was responsible for the Steve Jobs Theatre in Cupertino, several other Apple buildings. All of the Apple projects were prepreg composites. They provided large composite ceiling panels for Mecca. And this is a high volume project that required a lot of day-to-day planning, which is where that's where I kind of honed my kind of managerial skills. Like the team that I had there was 130 people, multinational. So it was like very much in at the deep end. They started off as quite highly unskilled. They knew how to make the parts, but they didn't know why they were using certain methods. So I kind of took it upon myself to explain why they were doing the things they were doing. That sounds kind of, it doesn't quite sound right, does it? That someone's doing something, but they don't know why they're doing it. They know how to, but yeah.
I think it sounds correct, because what you're saying basically is that you're channeling all the knowledge, making sure you know exactly why you're doing something, why you're doing it. Doesn't mean necessarily that the company has their own pillars. It just means that things can always become more efficient. That's always, it's not negative. I think it's the natural path that the company will take. They're doing something, there's an industry standard. People have to align with that.
Yeah.
But maybe they don't know necessarily why they're doing it. So I think that's where your expertise step in.
Exactly. And it's part of that, like being thrown in at the deep end of that. Oh, my lights, just give me 2 seconds.
No worries, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it makes life more interesting. No worries. That's technology for us. We need to move around, keep the lights on.
That's it. I'm kind of, my kind of desk is based in the clean room at the moment, because I'm kind of overseeing parts that are going onto the car at the moment, and so I'm set up about as close as I can get to the guys. So
the office you have is the best office I've ever seen. The best I've ever seen in my life. I wouldn't be able to work if I wasn't in that office. Right. So you channel all that knowledge, and then I saw your CV. You worked for Arrival. Now, Arrival, as I've seen from other individuals as well, is a company which it's a very complex working environment, because it's newly established and they're trying to find their product line, and they need very specialized engineers and very knowledgeable as well. So how did you tackle your role in Arrival?
Arrival was a challenge. It's my first time working for a startup. It's a lot of working for Arrival was based around my kind of planning and the composite knowledge wasn't so much used, because it's their own technology. That's a material they've developed themselves. So the composite knowledge was kind of second fiddle to what I'd learned with probably my time at PCT. It's making sure a large team of people understand why they're doing the tasks they're doing, and making sure the parts they are making are the bits that the build team need. I'm essentially a middleman between production and the build team, keeping parts on track, making sure the team leads know what parts they're making on a day-to-day basis. It's quite a large task, with dealing with kind of softwares that they're building alongside actual while manufacturing's taken place. So it's talking to software engineers, because it's all their technology is kind of built in-house, and that is massively interesting to work in as well.
So how did the experience make you as a professional, first of all, grow?
It's tackling new challenges. Again, it was so far out of what I was used to. Again, just the challenge of trying to work out the best way to approach something.
It's very interesting because I'm trying to do something similar, get out of my, it sounds cliche at this point, but I believe it's necessary to get out of your comfort zone as well.
Yeah.
And then for you comes the shift of going to Zenvo. So talk to me, like, how did this transition happen?
So I've, like a lot of people, I've known about Zenvo for a long time. And that's kind of only increased over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I've been fortunate enough to see the car in person, seen the quality of it. I've also known Alberto, the production manager, for a long time, kind of in and around the industry. There's been several scenarios where I've kind of put my input into composite parts that they'd been making. So when the opportunity came to kind of be full time and part of the kind of future, I kind of jumped at the opportunity. The cars are an absolute work of art, and a chance to be part of the future here. Yeah,
It's really,
it's a real, sorry.
No worries.
It's a real pursuit of perfection, and the carbon work is a real talking point for when people see the cars. Yeah.
I'm sure that it's in my mind, these companies, and you can verify if this is true, because they produce a smaller volume of cars and they have less employees, the teams are more bonded. So everyone knows each other very well, and the work that's being put, it's extremely pure and genuine. Is that the case for the work environment at Zenvo?
It is. We all sit down together, have breakfast together in the mornings. We all talk to each other. It is the team gels here really well. Yeah, it's a really nice place to work.
If we talk technically, of course, to the depth you can and you're comfortable with, could you talk to me about, maybe superficially, about the projects you're involved with, and what is basically the outcome that you want from this role for you?
So the project, well, you may well have seen the release of the TRS GT.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now in charge of getting all of the composite parts for that car, for all the three of them that are all sold out already before they was even announced. I'm responsible for getting those laminated, fitted to the car, into paint, and then assisting with the build team, making sure it's pushing that through. I've taken this opportunity to try and put some of the knowledge that I've gotten from the Formula One industry and try and put it into the parts on this car.
So my final question basically would be, let's say that we have an undergraduate or graduate student who is in love with composites, and they want to start by being a technician and reach like that level that you are now, working for an elite exotic car company. How would you advise them to proceed? Meaning, what skills should they aim to build before graduating?
I think the biggest kind of thing is understanding the process. Even if it's just knowing how the materials act in hand, with kind of get an understanding of how composite structures are designed. It's just kind of like, there's so much information out there now. Like, YouTube wasn't a thing when I started.
No.
It's stuff. I was watching a video the other day, and there was a guy building parts for his motorbike in his shed, and there was some brackets on these parts that he was doing, and I'd not even thought about doing it that way. Like, sometimes the simplest way is the best way of doing it, and it's kind of, yeah.
Do you think being educated, basically, I've seen this from a lot of students, that they are trying to become educated online because the information exists out there, and I'm sure you cannot share every single process that you guys are involved with, since these projects are extremely limited on the information you guys can put out there. So I really appreciate you trying to give all that information to me. So if we sum all this up, first of all, understand what they're trying to do, basically, because I think a lot of students, they see these things very superficially.
Yeah.
So dive into depth, get educated from online material. Do you have any maybe software tools that a student should use to get accustomed with composites? Maybe SolidWorks, maybe CATIA, something that you've used that helped you.
Personally, for CAD, I use Fusion 360 on a personal level because it's free to hobbyists. So I've kind of taught myself CAD to a reasonable standard. So use tools that are kind of free or are easy to get hold of. I know CATIA's hugely expensive.
It is.
As much as I'd love to learn it, it's kind of out of my budget to do.
It's only if maybe the organization you're working for or the university offers it. So
yeah, well, exactly. If a university offers it, obviously take opportunities that are presented to you.
I enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. I've loved supercars since I was 5 years old.
Yeah, that's good.
Me being able to talk to a professional like you is also, apart from the business point, a dream of mine. So I wish you a beautiful rest of the day.
Yeah.
And we'll be in contact for the article. Thank you again.
I hope I come across as okay, because it's the first time I've done one of these. So
I fully understand it, and you've come across as way more than okay.
Okay,
it's very insightful, because this article basically targets an audience which has very limited knowledge of your workspace. And I know, because I've looked around, interviews, especially from professionals in Zenvo, they don't exist.
Yeah.
They don't exist. So I'm trying to pull the veil a little bit on these industries that people love, but they don't know much of. They just know how the cars look, and they don't know what happens in the background. With all that, thank you again, Ben. Have a beautiful day, and you see the lights that go off, they know what we're doing.
Tattoo still. I'm gonna go get some steps.
Yeah, and we'll be in touch soon. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Cheers.